The fluorescent lights in Dr. Rivera's office hummed with that particular frequency that makes you feel like you're in a liminal space between health and sickness. I sat on the examination table, the paper crinkling beneath me, trying not to think about the fact that I'd put off this physical for 2 years. "Nathan," Dr. Rivera said, scrolling through something on her tablet. "What brings you in today?" The nurse mentioned this was overdue. I shrugged, trying to seem casual. "Just the standard checkup. You know how it is. Work gets busy. You forget about these things." That wasn't entirely true. I hadn't forgotten. I'd actively avoided it, because going to the doctor meant confronting the fact that I wasn't taking care of myself, that I'd spent the last 2 years in a fog of grief and guilt that had left me hollow. Ow. "Well, let's get started," Dr. Rivera said with the kind of efficient warmth that made her good at her job. "Any new concerns? Changes in your health? How's your sleep?" "Sleep's fine," I lied. "Everything's fine." She gave me that look doctors give you when they know you're lying, but are too professional to call you out immediately. "Okay, let's do the basics first. Blood pressure, heart rate, lungs." The routine was familiar. Cuff on the arm. Stethoscope on the chest. Breathe in, breathe out. I'd done this 100 times before. It should have been boring, forgettable. But then Dr. Rivera paused. Her hand, which had been moving the stethoscope across my back, stopped. She placed it again, in the same spot. Listened, moved it slightly. "Listened again, Nathan," she said slowly. "How long have you had this heart murmur?" My own heart, the one apparently murmuring, kicked up a notch. "I don't have a heart murmur. You do? It's quite pronounced." She moved around to face me, her expression serious now. "Has anyone ever mentioned this to you before?" "No, never. I mean, I had sports physicals in high school, college. No one ever said anything about my heart." Dr. Rivera was already pulling up something on her computer. "I'm going to order an echocardiogram. This could be nothing. Sometimes murmurs are benign, but given that it's new, or at least newly discovered, I want to be thorough." What could it be?" My voice sounded smaller than I wanted it to. "Let's not jump to conclusions. But it could indicate a valve issue, a structural problem, or..." She paused. Choosing her words carefully, "It could be a sign of endocarditis. That's an infection of the heart lining." "An infection? How would I get an infection in my heart?" "There are several ways. Sometimes it happens after dental work. Sometimes from a bacterial infection elsewhere in the body. Sometimes..." She looked at me carefully. "We see it in patients who use for drugs." "I don't use drugs," I said immediately. I didn't think you did. "But I have to ask, have you had any recent surgeries?" "Dental procedures." "Any unexplained fevers or night sweats?" I thought back over the last few months. I've been tired. But I thought that was normal. Tired how? Just exhausted. All the time. And yeah, I've been sweating at night. But my apartment runs hot. Dr. Rivera typed something. "Any joint pain? Unexplained weight loss? Maybe 10 pounds? But I haven't been eating much." She looked at me then, really looked at me, and I saw the calculation happening behind her eyes. Adding up symptoms, ruling out possibilities, narrowing down probabilities. "Nathan, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm concerned. I want to run a full panel of blood work, and I want you to have an echocardiogram as soon as possible. Today, if we can manage it. Today? It's that serious? I don't want to alarm you unnecessarily, but if this is endocarditis, it's a medical emergency. The bacteria can damage your heart valves, break off and cause strokes, lead to heart failure." He paused. "People die from this if it's not treated." The room tilted slightly. Okay. I'm going to have my nurse call down to cardiology, see if they can squeeze you in this afternoon. In the meantime, let's get that blood work done." 10 minutes later, I was sitting in the phlebotomy chair, watching my blood fill tube after tube. Purple top, red top, blue top. I didn't know what any of them tested for, but there were a lot of them. "You okay, honey?" the phlebotomist asked. She was an older black woman with kind eyes and gentle hands. "You look a little pale." Just found out I might have a heart infection, I said, and hearing it out loud made it more real. Oh, sugar. Well, you're in good hands here, Doctor. Rivera's the best. She'll take care of you. I nodded, not trusting my voice. My phone buzzed. A text from my best friend, Mia. How'd the doctor go? Still alive? I stared at the message. How did I even begin to explain this? I typed back, call you later. Still at the office? By the time I finished with the blood work, Dr. Rivera's nurse found me in the waiting room. Good News Cardiology can see you in an hour. The office is on the 3rd floor. Here's the information. An hour. I had an hour to sit with this news, to let it sink in. Instead of going to the cardiology office, I found myself walking out of the medical building and into the small park across the street. It was October in Seattle, which meant gray skies and the constant threat of rain. I sat on a damp bench and pulled out my phone. My finger hovered over a contact I hadn't called in 2 years. Asterisk. Ethan. Asterisk, my brain supplied the image automatically. Dark hair. Gray eyes, that crooked smile that had first caught my attention across a crowded bar 5 years ago. Ethan, who'd been my partner, my best friend, my everything for 3 years. Ethan, who I'd driven away with my inability to commit. My fear of being too open, too vulnerable. Ethan, who'd said, I love you, Nathan, but I can't be with someone who keeps me at arm's length, and walked out of our apartment 2 years ago. I'd thought about calling him 1,000 times since then, had drafted and deleted countless messages, but I'd never actually done it because what would I say? Sorry, I was emotionally unavailable. Want to grab coffee? Now, sitting in a park across from a medical building, possibly dying from a heart infection I didn't understand, I wondered if I'd missed my chance to make things right. My phone rang. Making me jump, Mia? Hey, I answered. What happened? Is everything okay? I don't know. Maybe. The doctor found something. Found what? A heart murmur. She thinks I might have an infection. I have to go for more tests. Mia's voice shifted from casual to concerned in an instant. An infection in your heart. Nathan, that's serious. Are you there alone? Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, I don't know if I'm fine, but I'm okay right now. Where are you? I'm coming, Mia. You don't have to wear, are you? I told her. She said she'd be there in 20 minutes while I waited. I let myself think about the question I'd been avoiding. How did this happen? If Dr. Rivera was right, if I did have endocarditis, how did I get it? I'd Googled it while sitting in the phlebotomy waiting room. Probably not the smartest move. But when has that ever stopped anyone? The causes ranged from dental procedures to heart defects to drug use to... My scrolling had stopped on one particular line. In some cases, endocarditis can develop after bacteremia from skin infections or other minor wounds. I thought about the tattoo I'd gotten 6 months ago. A small one, on my rib cage, where no one could see it. A compass rose. I'd gone to a walk-in shop I didn't know, hadn't researched. Had just wanted something permanent to mark the moment of finally feeling like I was moving forward, instead of staying stuck in my grief over Ethan. The tattoo had gotten a little red, a little sore, but I'd thought that was normal. Had I given myself a heart infection from a stupid, impulsive tattoo? Nathan, I looked up to see Mia jogging across the park, her auburn hair flying behind her, still wearing her work clothes slacks and a blazer that meant she'd left in the middle of her shift at the architecture firm. You didn't have to leave work, I said as she reached me. Shut up. She pulled me into a hug. Tell me everything. The murmur, the possible endocarditis, the emergency cardiology appointment, all of it. Mia listened with the intense focus that made her good at her job and good at being a friend. Okay, she said when I finished. First thing, we're going to that appointment together. Second thing, you're not Googling any more symptoms. Third thing, when did you last eat? Breakfast. It's 2 p.m., come on. There's a cafe in the medical building. You need food. I don't think I can eat, and you can watch me eat and have some tea. Let's go. The echocardiogram was painless but unsettling. I lay on my side while a technician moved a wand across my chest, taking pictures of my heart from various angles. The screen showed strange, pulsing shapes that apparently were the chambers of my heart, valves opening and closing, blood flowing through. Is it bad? I asked. I can't interpret the results, the tech said apologetically. The cardiologist will review everything and get back to you. Probably today or tomorrow. But you can see if something's wrong, right? You do this all day. She gave me a sympathetic look. I really can't say. I'm sorry. Mia was waiting for me when I came out. How'd it go? I have no idea. They won't tell me anything until a doctor looks at it. Okay, so now what? Now I guess I go home and wait. Wrong now. You come to my place. Ben's making his famous chicken soup, and you're not going to sit alone in your apartment spiraling? Ben was Mia's husband, a software engineer with a passion for cooking and an endless well of dad jokes, despite having no children. Under normal circumstances, I would have declined. Today wasn't normal, okay, I said. Yeah, that sounds good. We were halfway to Mia's car when my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello. Nathan Chambers. A male voice. Professional. Yes. This is Dr. Patel from cardiology. I've reviewed your echocardiogram and your preliminary blood work. Can you come back to the office? There's something I need to discuss with you. My stomach dropped. Is it bad? I'd rather explain in person. Are you still in the building? I'm in the parking lot. I can come back. Good. Ask for me at the cardiac clinic. 3rd floor. He hung up before I could ask any more questions. Mia and I looked at each other. That didn't sound good, she said, double quotes. No, it didn't. Dr. Patel was younger than I expected. Maybe early 40s, with a warm brown skin and the kind of calm demeanor that probably came from having to deliver bad news regularly. He shook my hand, nodded at Mia, and gestured for us to sit. Thank you for coming back so quickly, he said, pulling up images on his computer. I wanted to discuss your results while they're fresh. Is it endocarditis? I asked. Yes, I'm afraid it is. He turned the monitor toward me. This is your echocardiogram. Do you see this area here? He pointed to something that looked like static on the image. These are vegetations, essentially bacterial colonies, in your mitral valve. I stared at the screen. Somewhere in my chest, right now, bacteria were growing on my heart. Your blood work also came back with elevated inflammatory markers and a positive blood culture. We're waiting on the full culture to identify the exact bacteria, but it's definitely an active infection. How bad is it? Mia asked when I couldn't find words. Dr. Patel's expression was serious but not hopeless. It's serious, but it's treatable. The good news is that we caught it relatively early. The vegetations are small, and your valve function, while compromised, isn't critically impaired. The bad news is that you need to be admitted to the hospital immediately for IO antibiotics. Immediately? Like now? Yes. Endocarditis is a life-threatening condition. The bacteria can break off from the vegetations and travel to your brain, causing a stroke. Or the infection can worsen, destroying the valve and leading to heart failure. We need aggressive antibiotic treatment, and we need to monitor you closely. For how long? Typically, treatment is 4 to 6 weeks of 4 antibiotics. In some cases, if the damage to the valve is severe, Or if the infection doesn't respond to antibiotics, surgery may be necessary to replace the valve. 6 weeks. 6 weeks in the hospital. 6 weeks of 4 antibiotics. The words weren't quite sinking in. Nathan. Mia put her hand on my arm. Did you hear that? Yeah, I heard. I looked at Dr. Patel. What if I don't get admitted? What if I wait? Then you will likely die, he said bluntly. I'm sorry to be harsh, but this isn't something you can put off. We're talking about an infection in your heart. Every day we wait is a day the bacteria can cause more damage or break off and cause a stroke, okay? My voice sounded distant, like it was coming from someone else. Okay, what do I need to do? I'm going to have admissions start the paperwork. Do you have someone who can bring you some things from home? You'll want comfortable clothes, toiletries, maybe some books or a laptop. I can go, Mia said immediately. Give me your keys and a list. The next 2 hours were a blur of paperwork and phone calls and being moved from one department to another. By 6 p.m., I was in a hospital room on the cardiac floor. An IV port installed in my arm, the first dose of antibiotics already dripping into my bloodstream. Mia had gone to get my things. I was alone for the first time since the diagnosis, and the reality of it was starting to hit. I had a heart infection. I was going to be in the hospital for at least a month. I could need open heart surgery. I could have a stroke. I could die. The thought that kept circling back, though, wasn't about death. It was about time. How much of it I'd wasted. How many opportunities I'd missed. How I'd let fear keep me from the things and people that mattered. I pulled out my phone, opened my contacts, found Ethan's name, 2 years. It had been 2 years since we'd spoken. What were the chances he'd even want to hear from me? Before I could talk myself out of it, I typed, "Hey, I know it's been a long time. I'm in the hospital. Swedish Medical Center. Room 412. I don't expect you to come. I wanted you to know." I hit send before I could delete it. Then I sat there staring at the phone. Watching the message change from delivered to read, 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, what happened? "Are you okay?" My fingers trembled as I typed. "Heart infection. I'm okay. Or I will be. They're treating it. I'm coming. Don't have to? I'm coming. Give me an hour." I set the phone down, my heart infected, murmuring. Damaged, beating hard against my ribs, Ethan was coming. I must have dozed off because the next thing I knew, there was a soft knock on the door and a voice saying, "Nathan." I opened my eyes. For a moment, backlit by the hallway lights, I thought I was dreaming. Ethan, 2 years had changed him in small ways. His hair was shorter, styled differently. He'd grown a beard, neatly trimmed. He looked older, more settled, but his eyes, those gray eyes that had always seen right through me, were the same. "Hey," he said softly, stepping into the room. "Hey." My voice came out rough. "You came. Of course I came." Yeah. He moved closer, and I could see the concern etched in his face. "Jesus, Nathan. A heart infection. Endocarditis. Apparently, I've been slowly dying for months and didn't notice." "That's not funny. Sorry. Dark humor is how I'm coping." Ethan pulled up a chair next to the bed. We sat in silence for a moment, 2 years of unspoken words hanging between us. "How did this happen?" he finally asked. I told him everything. The missed checkup, the routine physical, Dr. Rivera's discovery, the echo, the diagnosis. As I talked, I watched his expression shift from concern to fear to something that looked like anger. "Why didn't you go to the doctor sooner?" He asked. Said you've been tired for months, sweating at night." "Nathan, those are serious symptoms. I know that now." "So why didn't you?" He stopped himself, took a breath. "I'm sorry. You're sick. I'm not here to lecture you. No, you're right. I should have gone sooner. I've been in a bad place. Not taking care of myself. Going through the motions." Ethan's expression softened. "Because of us? Because of me? Because I let the best thing in my life walk away and then spent 2 years pretending I was fine when I wasn't? I'd said more in one sentence than I'd managed to say in our entire last year together. Nathan, I'm sorry. The words tumbled out. I'm sorry for all of it. For being closed off, for not letting you in, for making you feel like you weren't enough, when the truth was I didn't think I was enough. I'm sorry it took almost dying for me to realize I've wasted 2 years. Being miserable without you because I was too proud or too scared or too stupid to just tell you that I made a mistake. That letting you go was the biggest mistake of my life. Ethan stared at me. You're really going to do this now? While you're in a hospital bed with a heart infection? When else am I going to do it? I've put it off for 2 years. And yeah, maybe this is the worst timing in the world. But I'm done wasting time. I'm done being scared. You're not thinking clearly. You just got diagnosed with a serious illness, which is exactly why I am thinking clearly. Because for the first time in 2 years, I'm seeing what actually matters. And you matter. You always mattered. I was just too broken to admit it. Ethan stood up, ran his hands through his hair, a gesture I remembered from every difficult conversation we'd ever had. I can't do this right now. You're in the hospital, you're scared, you're vulnerable. This isn't the time for what? For honesty? For finally saying what I should have said 2 years ago? For making promises you might not be able to keep? His voice rose, then immediately dropped as he remembered we were in a hospital. Nathan, I loved you. I loved you so much, it hurt. And you couldn't or wouldn't love me back, not the way I needed. You kept walls up, kept parts of yourself locked away. I gave you everything and got half of you in return, I know. And now you're sick and scared and you think that changes things. But what happens when you're better? When you're out of this hospital and back to your life? Do you really expect me to believe that everything's going to be different? I don't know, I admitted. I don't know if I can promise you that I'm a different person now. But I know that almost dying makes you reassess your priorities. And I know that the thing I regret most in my life is losing you. Not the career I didn't pursue, not the risks I didn't take. Losing you? Ethan sat back down heavily. You can't do this to me. Do what? Make me hope again. His voice cracked. Do you have any idea how long it took me to get over you? How many nights I spent wondering if I'd made a mistake? If I should have tried harder, stayed longer, been more patient? And I finally got to a place where I could think about you without it hurting. Where I could imagine a future that didn't include you. And now you're here saying all the things I needed to hear 2 years ago, and He trailed off. In the dim light of the hospital room, I could see tears on his cheeks. I'm sorry, I whispered. I'm so sorry. Stop apologizing and tell me what you want. Really want? I want another chance. I want to prove to you that I can be the person you needed me to be. I want my voice broke. I want you back in my life, however you'll have me. Friend, acquaintance, I don't care. I just want you? Ethan wiped his eyes. You're on drugs right now, you know that? They're pumping you full of antibiotics and who knows what else. This might all be the medication talking, it's not. You don't know that. I do. Because I've wanted to call you every day for 2 years. Because your contact is still marked as a favorite in my phone. Because I drive past our old apartment sometimes just to remember what it felt like to be happy. Because I got a tattoo 6 months ago, which, by the way, is probably what gave me this infection, and it's a compass because you used to say I was directionless. And I wanted something to remind me to find my way back to who I actually am. To what actually matters. Ethan's eyes widened. You got a tattoo? You hate needles. I hate being without you more. Okay, he laughed, but it sounded more like a sob. You're impossible. I know. And I'm probably an idiot for even considering this. My stupid infected heart skipped. Considering what? Staying. Being here. Seeing where this goes. He held up a hand before I could respond. But I'm not promising anything. I'm not jumping back into a relationship with you. I'm not leaving right now, okay? Okay. I tried to keep the hope out of my voice and failed miserably. That's more than I deserve. Way more, he agreed. But you're sick, and despite everything, I still care about you. So, I'm staying. For now, the door opened, and Mia backed in, arms full of bags. Okay, I brought your laptop, Your chargers, your toiletries, comfortable clothes, your favorite She stopped dead when she saw Ethan. Ethan, she said, her voice carefully neutral. Hi, Mia. Ethan stood. It's good to see you, you too. She set the bags down, looking between us. Do you want me to come back later? No, Ethan and I said simultaneously. Mia raised an eyebrow. Okay then. Well, I brought half your apartment, Nathan, including Hemingway's favorite toy because I figured you'd be worried about him. My neighbor is going to check on him while you're here. Thank you. I felt my throat tighten. For everything. That's what family is for. She shot a pointed look at Ethan. Real family. People who show up, Mia, I warned. I'm just saying. She turned back to me. Ben's asking when he can visit. Apparently he's already making a care package of homemade soup. Tell him tomorrow is fine. Will do. I kissed my forehead. Get some rest. And text me if you need anything. Anything. After she left, Ethan and I sat in awkward silence. She hates me, he finally said. She doesn't hate you. She's protective. She watched me fall apart after you left. I didn't mean to hurt you. No. I hurt myself. You just stopped enabling it. Another knock on the door interrupted us. A nurse came in, young and cheerful. Time for vitals. And then you should probably get some rest. It's late. I glanced at the clock. 11 p.m. How had that happened? Ethan stood. I should go. You don't have to. You need rest. I need to think. It's a lot, Nathan. I know. He hesitated at the door. But I'll come back tomorrow. If you want me to, I want you to. Okay, then I'll be here. After he left, the nurse took my vitals, adjusted my and made notes in her computer. Your friend seems nice, she commented. Yeah, he is. You should rest now. Big day tomorrow. The infectious disease team will want to examine you, and you'll need your strength. I nodded, but sleep felt impossible. My mind was racing with everything that had happened. The diagnosis, Ethan. The possibility that maybe impossibly, I might get a second chance at the one thing that had ever really mattered. My phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. Thank you for telling me. About being sick? You didn't have to. I typed back. Yes, I did. You're still the first person I want to call when something happens. Good or bad? Long pause. Then, get some sleep, Nathan. We'll talk tomorrow. Good night, Ethan. Good night. I set the phone down and closed my eyes. For the first time in 2 years, despite being in a hospital with a life-threatening infection, felt something that might have been hope. The routine of hospital life set in quickly. Wake up to vital checks at 6 a.m., breakfast at 7:30, morning rounds with the team of doctors, my cardiologist, an infectious disease specialist, residents, medical students, everyone wanting to look at my charts and listen to my heart, more antibiotics. Lunch. Afternoon visits from physical therapists, wanting to make sure I walked the halls. Dinner. Evening vitals. Sleep. Repeat by day 3. I felt like I could write a manual on hospital living. What I couldn't figure out was the situation with Ethan. He came every day, usually in the afternoon, after work. He'd bring good coffee from the place we used to go to together, and we'd talk. About safe things. Work. Movies. Books. Never about us. Never about the future. Never about the conversation we'd had that first night. You're torturing yourself, Mia said on day 5. She'd come by during her lunch break, bring in actual food to supplement the hospital meals. I'm not torturing myself. I'm being patient. You're being patient with the guy who broke your heart. I broke my own heart, Mia. He just refused to let me break his too. She stabbed at her salad thoughtfully. You're different, you know? Since you got sick. More... open. Almost dying puts things in perspective. It's not just that. You're talking about your feelings. Actually talking. Do you know how many years I've known you, and you've never once had a real conversation about emotions? I had conversations about your car, your job, your cat. Never about what you were actually feeling. Even after Ethan left, You just shut down. You wouldn't talk about it. Picked at my own food. I didn't know how. And now you do? I don't know if I know how, but I know that keeping it all inside almost killed me. Literally, maybe this infection came from a tattoo, maybe from something else, but the stress of the last 2 years, the isolation, that didn't help. So you're just going to spill your guts to everyone now? Just to the people who matter. Starting with Ethan. If he'll listen, he's listening. He's here every day. He won't talk about us. Every time I try to bring it up, he changes the subject. Mia's expression softened. Give him time, Nathan. You had 2 years to process the breakup. He's had 20 minutes of surprise hospital confessions. It's a lot. I knew she was right. But knowing something intellectually and feeling it emotionally were different things. Every day that Ethan came and left without saying anything definitive felt like slowly dying, which was ironic, considering I was actually getting better. The antibiotics were working. My fevers had stopped. The blood work was showing improvement. Dr. Patel was cautiously optimistic. If we're lucky, he said during rounds on day 7, you won't need surgery. The vegetation is shrinking and your valve function is improving. We'll keep you on the antibiotics for the full 6 weeks, but 3 of those weeks can be outpatient. You could go home as early as next week. Home. The apartment that had felt more like a prison than a home for the last 2 years. I should have been excited. Instead, I felt anxious. What if the infection comes back? I asked. We'll monitor you closely. Weekly blood work. Monthly echoes. You'll need to be vigilant about dental hygiene and seek treatment immediately for any infections. But if you're careful, there's no reason you can't live a normal life. Normal. What was normal anymore? That afternoon when Ethan arrived with coffee, I decided to take Mia's advice and just ask. We talk about the elephant in the room? I said after we'd exhausted the usual small talk. Ethan set down his cup carefully. Which elephant is that? Us. What happens when I get out of here? Whether there's any chance, Nathan, he held up a hand. I told you I needed time to think. It's been a week. You almost died. Forgive me for needing more than a week to process that and decide if I want to risk getting hurt again. The words stung. Risk getting hurt again? Is that what being with me would be? A risk? Yes. He met my eyes. I'm sorry if that's harsh, but yes. You hurt me, Nathan, badly, and I've worked really hard to put myself back together. The idea of giving you another chance to break me, ... He shook his head. I have to protect myself. I understand that. But how do I prove to you that I've changed if you won't give me a chance? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. We sat in uncomfortable silence. Finally, Ethan stood. I should go. I have an early meeting tomorrow, okay? I tried to keep the disappointment out of my voice. Thanks for coming. He paused at the door, his hand on the frame. Nathan, yeah? I'm glad you're getting better. I know I'm being difficult about everything else, but I'm glad you're going to be okay. After he left, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. My roommate, an elderly man who'd had a heart attack, was snoring softly on the other side of the curtain. The hospital sounds filtered in beeping machines, footsteps in the hallway, distant conversations. My phone buzzed. Marcus, how are you feeling? Better physically. Worse emotionally, Ethan? How'd you guess? Because you've been in love with him since the day you met him, and you've been miserable without him for 2 years. What happened? I typed out the whole story. The confession, Ethan's hesitation, daily visits that felt like hope and torture in equal measure. Marcus's response came quickly. He's scared. Give him space, but don't give up. If he wasn't interested, he wouldn't keep coming. What if he decides I'm not worth the risk? Then he's an idiot. But I don't think that's going to happen. What makes you so sure? Because the way he looks at you when he thinks no one's watching, that's not how you look at someone you're over. I wanted to believe that. God, I wanted to believe that day 12 brought unexpected progress. Dr. Patel came in beaming. Your latest echo looks excellent, he said. The vegetation has shrunk significantly and your valve function has improved dramatically. I think we can discharge you tomorrow with a PIC line for home IV antibiotics. Tomorrow? I sat up straighter. That's soon? You're stable, improving, and honestly taking up a bed we need for sicker patients. He smiled to soften the words.